Bring your cup and take a seat. Fill it up, coffee, wine, or tea. Come find what you're looking for. A good pour.
Welcome back to A Good Pour. I'm Kathryn Good, your host. This is Conversations About Good Work, and today we have Amy Brodrick with Walk In It. Let me make sure I say it right.
Yes.
CEO and founder of a pretty new business.
Very new business, yes.
Amy and I have actually known each other for a very long time.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I just, every time I get to talk, I love it. There's little bits of wisdom dropped. And so thank you. All that to say, thank you for joining
Absolutely.
us
Glad to be
today.
here. Thanks for having me.
Like I said, 2015 probably.
At least, yes.
Maybe even earlier than that.
I think it was probably a little earlier than that when
2012.
we did the website together. Yes.
So we did a website for your previous company.
Yes.
And then after you have started something new, we met at Cave.
Yes.
You reached out and said, and it was like most meetings I have at Cave, holy ground.
Holy Grant. I loved it. I love the way you phrased that. Yes.
And we were just supposed to talk that day. And so we've run into each other a couple times. You've had, a lot going on this year and starting a new business and your personal life. But I'm just thrilled for what you're doing. So talk about walk in it.
Yes, and it's funny. I have to really slow down when I say it.
I want to say walk into it and not, come on, walk into it, but it's walk in it. So tell me what it means and what you're doing.
Well, it started from really from scripture is where it came from. It's from Isaiah 30:21. And I really just wanted to help people really cultivate their talents and their gifts that God gave them and to use those in a way that are meaningful, but also give them an opportunity to use their passions and everything else. So the name kind of came to me. It was kind of like a download. Just one day I had this, I was looking through things, trying to figure out what I want to do next, everything else. And all of a sudden I'm like, oh, okay. Walk In It is supposed to be the name. And where do we go from there? So that's kind of how it started. And I'm excited to see where it's going.
So what currently kind of services are you offering?
All right. So I do a little bit of everything. And it's so funny. It's talking to another marketing person when I think about, okay, who's my ICP?
Yeah.
It makes me very paranoid as an entrepreneur because my ICP changes an awful lot. So really
Tell people what ICP is in case they don't know.
Your ideal customer profile.
There you go.
So, and it's the buzzword as an entrepreneur. You've got to know
Avatar,
who that
demographic.
is.
There's lots of different words, but yes. ICP.
Yes.
Okay.
So for me, it is really, I really have the passion to work with women. I will work with men as well, but really I want to help women move into leadership roles and to really help them figure out what that God-given calling is for them and that talent and how they can use it best. I found that in my role, I'd been there so long that I'd lost sight of what that was. And so spent a lot of time thinking through that, trying to figure out, okay, what am I supposed to be doing now? And am I still doing things that I'm passionate about? So I do some of that. I also do sales consulting. I do, much like you, I'm an AI kind of nut.
Yes.
Love it. So I've been teaching some AI in some sales strategy classes. And then hospitality is in my blood. It's my number one gift as far as skills assessment and spiritual gift, everything else. Love hospitality. And so I also teach some classes on just how to make people feel welcome.
Okay. And hospitality was your background, right?
It is my background.
Like years.
30 plus. Let's just call it 30 plus so I don't have to tell you how old I am, but no. But love every minute of hospitality, everything about it.
Did you know like right away that was a gift?
I've known it all my life just because I've always been super social. I don't meet strangers. talk to everybody. I mortify my children, as we were laughing about beforehand, just because I talk to anyone. And I enjoy making people feel welcome and be a part of a group, and to feel like they belong. And you get to do that in so many different ways in the hospitality industry. And I think with hospitality too, as I was talking with you, Paul out there, it's not just about hotels. It's all things hospitality, event venues, teaching customer service, like Alliance Bernstein downtown. They have a phenomenal staff. Like the minute you walk in the door, someone greets you. And I'm like, this is how every business should function. So that's part of hospitality as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. What has it? So it was a gift. Is it still a passion in hospitality?
It's still a passion for me. Yeah.
And then women finding their calling. What else
Yes.
would you say is a passion right now?
Selling and leadership, I
Okay.
think will always be those things, or things that I'm passionate about. Sales, because I've done it since I was 8 years old, and playing on travel sports, and had to go door to door selling wallpaper or candy or whatever else. And so just teaching people how to sell is really about building a relationship with someone.
Yeah.
So that's
There's
a
one
passion
more
too.
that you're passionate about that you haven't said yet. And
Entrepreneurs, the Sumner County thing.
young children. Yes. The next generation finding their calling.
Yes.
And what they're supposed to be doing. And are we giving them the tools to do it? Because
We are now. We're about to.
Yeah, I know.
I'm so excited about this. So for this portion out here, I've been I've been mentoring out at the Williamson County Entrepreneur and Innovation Center. It's hard to say. I just call it the EIC. And I've been doing that for a couple of years now, at least. You sign up to be a part of their program. And really, I liken it to DECA for our side of the city anyway, for Sumner County. And they have this wonderful center out there where high school, actually the middle schoolers have started it now, where they come in and they really... they start a product or a service, and then they pitch it. And so I've been going out there, and it's so funny. So a lot of the people from Sumner County moved out there, and they were they were adults that my kids had when they were in the DECA program. And so I'm like, we need to bring this exact concept over to Sumner County. And so I have spent a lot of time talking to every person I could find that would listen to me. Chase Moore, if you're listening. I bless his heart. I hunt him down every time I see him. I'm like, hey, listen, I just want to tell you about this. So another interesting thing, a person you introduced me to, I was so stinking excited about. You introduced me to Kathryn.
Yeah.
Kathryn was over the
Carolyn Smith Foundation.
Yeah. And so I ran into her at Just Love Coffee, and she said, Amy, she sent me an email and told me, I want you to know Sumner County is starting to pass this. And that is where the same type of concept is going to happen on this side of the city in Sumner County. So I cannot wait to get that started. And today, I realized today when I got over here, I was like, man, I was going to rep the young ladies out in Williamson County because I had their product, have a necklace and earrings and things they sold. And I'm like,
so they actually sell there.
they actually sell the product. One of the guys out there has actually, he postponed his first year of college so that he could run his business because it was doing so well from that. And I want to see Sumner County do that.
So why do you love this?
I love seeing the light bulb go off. And I think that as kids start to dream about what they want to do in the future, it gives them so many different options. For some kids, yes, the next step is to go to college or what have you. But for some kids, it's a trade school. For some kids, they're already in the spot where they know they want to be an entrepreneur. Maybe their whole family has done that kind of thing before. And so they're ready to move into that.
Yeah.
But to be able to give them different options and to have people in the community that have been there, done that, also failed at it, and know how to turn that boat around, to give them all those different options and pour into them. Wish I would have had that growing up.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Me too. That's one of the things when I teach the AI classes, when I see people's light bulbs go off, it's just such a joy. And it's so needed because we've been in this, these are the careers that are offered. These are the things that you can do. And now a lot of those careers are going to really change because of AI.
You are right.
I'm teaching, I don't know if you know this, but I'm teaching AI for college kids. It'll actually probably be done by the time this episode comes out. But I'm just, it's so important that they understand, I mean, they are in charge of how we're going to use AI and the wisdom that's going to have to come with that. And that's, I mean, if we're not teaching them, like, we're going to be in trouble.
Agreed.
Because they are going to have to make some really hard decisions on what's okay and what's not. And,
Agreed. Yeah.
And I've really been thinking about this from a, we should have had these conversations about social media early on. We should have had some, what are our boundaries? What is okay? What's, you know, what age should we allow kids?
Agreed.
You know,
Yep.
like, and I think we can do it over. I think we can do better with AI if we, even if it's just a one-on-one, like, this is what I'm going to choose. I'm going to not let it be me. I'm going to use it as a tool, but I'm not going to let it replace my brain.
Absolutely.
When we sat in Cave and you said, I want this in Sumner County.
Absolutely.
And you had already started these conversations. And now, I mean, it's just,
I know.
It's so many people having the same conversation. I mean, even when I was, you remember in Cave, I was like, I'm hearing this a lot. Like, how do, you know, or similar, and just how do we expand, you know, how do we let kids get aviation that don't go to Liberty Creek? How do we open this and it not be so siloed? And so it was just like, something's underground here. Something is happening because you just heard the same conversation, and now it's coming to light. I'm so proud of everyone who's had a hand in this. It's
Agreed. I emailed Kathryn back and I said, literally, I was just boohooing, and I may cry today just thinking about, I'm like, finally it's coming to fruition. Because I just excited for Sumner County and our kids in the future. It just, unreal.
Well, we talk about good work. So what does good work mean to you?
Good work to me is showing up with, I would say, integrity and a servant's heart to really help others. It shouldn't be about us. It should be about how we're helping others, and how we can help them see what their God-given talents are and how they use those to not only their betterment, but at whatever their actual work is. So that's really the news that I want to spread, is we've all been wired a certain way, and just to use that for good.
For good and for His glory.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
yes.
That's when it all comes together. All right, what are the books we got?
Oh, tons of good books. So I will say that over the last year and a half since I left corporate America, I have devoured books, and I just didn't have time before. And so, and mine are all really, I'm not like a fiction reader or anything else. And not necessarily self-help, but really just kind of understanding your brain and everything else. So one of the ones that I read, I want to give a shout out to my friend. And it's so interesting how I met her, a complete stranger. She lives in California. Kendra D. Carroll wrote a book, Step Into Your Calling. And this one is really kind of the jumping off point for me, of where I was like, oh, okay. And I want to tie this story back in. You'll appreciate the story behind it, but it really helped me just to step back and go, okay, let's set ground zero and figure out where we want to go from here. But here's how I met her. I was on a webinar about AI, and another random person on the webinar says, "Hey, I really want to talk more about this. Anybody else interested in talking about it with me?" So I answered this stranger, and I'm like, "Yes, I'd love to talk to you about that." And so we had a Zoom call, got to know each other, and she's like, "I want to introduce you to this person." And so it just kept going from there. I'm like, that was a God wink to say, here's how we found out about it.
She had already written this?
She had already written this.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was really interesting how that happened. But the rest of these books are all, I'm doing a lot of research just on women and young girls, and how our brains think, and how we develop maybe some stereotypes and those kind of things. And so I want to help women step out of that. After being, again, in the corporate world for so long, there are a lot of labels that come with that. So I'm trying to really do some study and some self-thought and some, just internal work on myself, but also show young women how to get started with these kind of things and to work their way into some of those senior leadership roles without making some of the same mistakes that I did. So, but anyway, I've been reading Confidence Code. This one has been my latest favorite. It's called Called to Cultivate, and it's really talking about a gospel vision, how work is our calling. And I mean, that God designed us that way, but our calling and our assignment are different things.
Oh.
And that fascinated me the most out of this book. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna ponder
Because
on that.
the assignment can change.
Assignment can change. Yes, our calling is always the same because that's how we wired us,
Right.
But our assignment can change all throughout that process, and just being able to stop long enough to think about that and think about, here's what my calling is. How can I use that calling in this particular season, even though my assignment may not be what I want it to be, but that's where he has me right now.
Okay. I love that. Yeah.
So, looking forward
And
to
then
it.
we've got Tim Keller's
Yes.
Every Good Endeavor, which is on my bookshelf because it's red and it says the word
I knew
good.
you'd like this book. That's right. I was like, I knew
But I
you'd like
haven't
this
read
book.
it yet, to be honest. So, I mean, if you're going to read it, I may have to read it too. We might have to have another discussion about it. But yeah, I think I saw it it was either a gift or I don't remember, but every time I go to like pare down or get rid of books, I'm like, well, I can't get rid of this. It's red and good, and I haven't read it. So
I know, and I want to borrow books from people. Like my friend Pam Teller told me about this one. It's hard to say with Tim Keller as the author, and Pam Teller told me about the book. But she met this gentleman and has been going through this book. And anyway, she told me about it. I'm like, okay, I'm going to borrow yours. And then I'm like, no, you can see.
you like to annotate and all the things.
Yeah. I mark my books up and I put some, little tags in there to let me know what the best parts are. So I'm like, no, I better buy it so that I can go through it. But the concept was, it is summertime, so people are doing vacation Bible school. And she said that someone told her about vocational Bible school, and talking about how to really teach others about how to use your vocation as a way to share the gospel with them. Mm-hmm. And so that's very appealing to me. And God's been kind of talking to me about it and scratching the surface of it. And I'm like, okay, I really need to figure out how to incorporate that. So yeah, I'm super excited to read it.
All right, we'll both have to read it. What would you say are some mistakes you made?
Oh, several.
As a woman entrepreneur now, what are some mistakes you made?
Wow. Well, let's start with some of the mistakes I think I made as a woman. Okay. I think assuming that others would see me as an equal, as a helper, to walk beside them and to really walk in that. I'm not trying to play on words of my business or anything like that. But,
we should. That's good.
yeah, as a marketing person, I knew you'd say that. But just assuming that people would do that and take you at your worth instead of having to act differently because you're a woman. And so there are times where I probably should have put my foot down and said, I'm not doing that as a woman. And because I wanted to advance my career, I'm like, well, I guess I'll have to. And, I have to overlook that. So I think that's one of them. I think one of the mistakes I have made probably as on a personal level is to thinking about, again, some of those labels that we receive as not as females. Everybody receives that, or, here's those labels. But for me, like I knew growing up, I've been labeled as strong-willed. Okay. Mm-hmm. So, and then I look at my kids, bossy. Yeah.
I don't know anybody else that might have gotten those words.
Not just assertive, but aggressive or whatever. Yeah. So I started thinking about those titles, and how we want to change that about ourselves all the time. And so, like my kids too, I say, okay, now look, your dad's strong-willed, I'm strong-willed. Our pictures are all in the dictionary beside the word strong-willed. But if we turn that around and say, you know what, here's what strong-willed really means. For me as a salesperson, it meant that I'm persistent. And so my calling to be in sales.
And determined.
Determined, leader, visionary. I like to be a pioneer. I like to be the first to get something done. Like if we're going to implement something, that's what a strong-willed person does. So instead of looking at it as a negative, then I think God calls us to steward that. He wired us that way. He knows we're that way. So we just need to wait and listen to how he tells us we're supposed to steward that. So I would have thought about that much more growing up, instead of trying to, change who I am or act like a different person. And I know everybody uses the word imposter syndrome or whatever else. But I would have encouraged some of those things more than try to suppress them. And I would have looked for a mentor earlier. I've been fortunate to have some great mentors in my life, but I would have looked for one that was more, that understood me and that was paired with me a little bit better. And if I'm honest, I think for the last 10 years, I should have poured more into the people behind me, or the ones that I was leading. I think a lot of them, and not to toot my own horn, but a lot of them would say that I did a good job with that, because I'm still in touch with so many of them and that type of thing. But I took my focus off of the pouring out and the stewarding the way God wired me to just focus on a career, because I got caught up in the job. Got caught up in the job, just got to get it done, do everything else. And you stop thinking about, no, how am I supposed to be using that for the next generation? And granted, I did some good things. I have to be able to acknowledge that and say, yes, I did. I've mentored, I've done these things, but I didn't do nearly enough. And I stopped some of that for self-focus, and self-focus is good, and to some degree, but not when you're not doing what you've been called to do.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So, I mean, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but you were tired of corporate America.
I was.
Would you use the term burnout?
Close to burned out. And what I would say about that is I loved what I did. And I still love hospitality, the whole 9 yards, but I wasn't learning anything. I'd gotten to the level as a senior vice president that I wasn't learning anything new. And the things that I was learning were things that I knew the company I was with, they weren't going to embrace those things. And so I had to make a tough choice. For about 5 years, I'd felt the itch. And I just kept saying, nope, from a financial standpoint, I really shouldn't do that. I mean, how are you going to get to that if you're working on your own or whatever? Didn't want to go to another company and do the exact same thing I'd been doing just for someone else. That didn't make sense. It wasn't going to fill that need for me to learn new things or to do this outpouring of things. So I made the tough choice to leave. And sure, I miss those people and that environment, but man, I'm so happy that I made the change.
Well, and you're learning now, right?
My
like you've got 4 books here that you're learning. Yes. I love that.
Yes.
So, what would you say? I mean, I like to ask how are you pouring into yourself now so that you can pour out to others? And it sounds like you have more time to learn and grow and pour out, even being aware that you were pouring out when you were busy. You feel like you could have done more, but you also, I mean, it's hard to pour out if you're not full, right?
Exactly.
So how are you making sure you're full now?
I've surrounded myself with a lot of strong and encouraging women that are pouring into me. I am reading ferociously, not just this, but our pastor is, very much into getting our entire body of reading in the same piece of the same parts of Scripture together. So love that. And really just, again, a lot of self-focus on, in a good way, of making sure that I don't let all those other things take over, that I don't let the pressure of work, the pressure of finances, anything take over from being at peace with where I am and knowing that I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah. Well, congratulations on everything so far. I can't wait to see in the next couple years where this takes you, because I think you're doing it with such intention and heart, and you're focused on the good from the get-go. So that can only be blessed.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for joining us today.
Absolutely.